What's going on? This is Coach Marcus, and welcome to the Pro Fan Podcast. We are going wild card games this weekend. We got a lot of stuff coming up. The AP All-Pro teams were released today, and just like we figured, it was going to be a lot of people upset. And it happens every year because at the end of the day, this is just a popularity contest. The teams that get the most media coverage, they're always, if you got somebody that's playing well, that's always going to be, the popular vote, because you got a lot of guys that get into this stuff and a lot of fans actually that get into the votings and who's all pro, who should be, who shouldn't be, but they don't watch games. And that's the biggest thing. So that's where the popular vote comes in handy, because if you don't watch games, you'll recognize a name and you'll vote for that name. That happens more often than the people that actually watch the games and vote on the people who have had the best year. So, like, you go down, just looking at the list, you go down Patrick Mahomes. You can't argue with Patrick Mahomes. That kid's been putting up video game numbers all year, so he deserves it. Josh Jacobs, the running back from Las Vegas, absolutely. That's a good choice. Travis Kelce, definitely. There's a couple people that you might want to put in there. What's the kid name from the kid that they signed in Minnesota, Hockenstein, I think. He's been pretty good, but you can't argue with Travis Kelce, man. Travis Kelce's been just doing it up. He's half the reason Patrick Mahomes has got the numbers that he's got. So let's not forget about that. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and Devontae Adams. And right underneath there would be A.J. Brown. You know what I mean? So you can't get mad at that. Justin Jefferson has been a beast. Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, definitely lived up to the expectation. Although I'd have to check his numbers because I'll take that back. He had a great year. A great regular season, and he helped him get to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything without Tua, but it is what it is. Devontae Adams was a beast, even in Las Vegas. And if he had any type of team behind him, that's just a shame down there. But everybody at the wide receiver position, I ain't mad at it. Not mad at all. Left tackle, Trent Williams, not mad at it. Right tackle, Lane Johnson, definitely not mad at it. Joel Bitonio from Cleveland. You could probably reach and find some other people, but again, you can't get mad at that. Right guard, Zach Martin, can't get mad at that. Jason Kelce, of course, being in Philly, you're always going to root for your Philly boys, but Jason Kelce's been a staple, and he's played at a high level this year. Although he's had a couple of brain farts, but for the most part, he's been solid. And you can't argue with that. On defense, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, come on, man. Them dudes have been balling all year. However, you got to give a plug to Haason Reddick. Going towards the end of the year, Haason Reddick balled out. He had like 8 sacks towards the latter half of the year, whereas Micah Parsons only had like 2 or 3. So the level of play went up for Haason Reddick and not necessarily so for Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons wasn't playing bad. He just wasn't doing anything above and beyond. And I would argue that Haason Reddick did. He kind of put the pedal to the metal towards the latter half of the year, and he's sitting at 16 sacks. Because if you'd flip it around, if Haason Reddick would have started out hot in the latter half of the year, Micah Parsons just put up crazy numbers, they would say the same thing. But that goes back to the publicity contest. Dallas is always going to get, they've got the biggest market share because they're probably the most well-known team in the league. You know what I mean? They get the most eyes on them. So it is what it is. But definitely, I don't think Micah Parsons should have been above Haason Reddick just by the level of play. That's it. Interior lineman, Chris Jones, can't argue. Quinnen Williams, can't argue. The linebackers, Fred Warner. Roquan Smith has just been a straight-up beast. Matt Milano from Buffalo. You know what? I'll throw in TJ Edwards because if he was a bigger name and more people knew who he was, he would probably be in there because he's played lights out. He has played lights out for Philadelphia. So the cornerback, Sauce Gardner, Patrick Surtain, can't get mad at that. Minka Fitzpatrick, Hufanga for San Francisco. Hufanga is a beast. He is a straight beast. That is Troy Polamalu reincarnated. Don't get it twisted. You know, when you go down to special teams, Daniel Carlson, punter, Tommy Townsend, Nixon for a kick returner. If it hadn't been for the last couple of weeks, I thought Turpin was going to get in there. The kid from what is it, the USFL or the XFL? I can't remember. I think it's USFL for Dallas because he was balling. But I know he had a bad last couple of weeks, so that may have kicked him out. Jeremy Reeves, long snapper, Andrew DePaulo. Can't get mad at that. Second team quarterback, Jalen Hurts, of course. And your running back, Nick Chubb. You can't get really mad at that. You can nitpick and get mad. My guy should have been there instead of your guy. But at the end of the day, everybody on this list was balling. Everybody on this list was balling. You are always going to have issues and opinions. What I think they should do is they should pick a few writers that watch all of the games. They should pick a few, have a collection of players, because sometimes the players can't see the forest for the trees. Players, just like fans do, they're going to be biased towards their guys, and sometimes the numbers don't work out. You know what I mean? And that gets back to who are they most familiar with. So I think that they should, vote on a collection of active players, veterans, a collection of retired alumni, and a collection of writers. And they should have a group together that votes on the all-pro people, and they have to watch all of the games, period. The alumni players could definitely do that, and the writers. There are some writers that watch all the games. I think Brian Baldinger should be somebody who's definitely on that list. Somebody that has to watch all the games, watches film. Cosell is somebody that should be on there. People that just are in tune and not just highlights. You know what I mean? Not the media heads on ESPN where all that they watch is highlights and most of their opinions are based on highlights. You need a collection of people that watch all of the tape. That's my 2 cents, and we'll leave it at that. Moving on. Yep. Back to Haason Reddick here in Philly. Yes, he should have been number 1 first team defensive player of the month. Like I said, this last 4 to 5 weeks, he has been on a tear. He has been bringing the noise. 8 sacks, and I believe he's got 2 forced fumbles. He's making it happen, man. He's making it happen, and he's just been consistent. He's been a consistent terror off the edge, and he's been putting up results. So here's one of those things where it's like you got to give, again, props to Howie for going to get him. Shame on Gannon for dropping him in the coverage so much. He made a joke about that in a press conference a couple weeks ago. But when you think about stuff like that, he made the comments where he said he probably could have had 25 sacks if he hadn't dropped him in the coverage so much. And he was joking, and we know what the deal is. He got to run the scheme and do what's best. But yeah, he knows. Gannon knows that. And I honestly believe he could have been close to 20 sacks this year if he hadn't been dropped back in the coverage so daggone much. Changing the scheme a little bit. And this is where you get into that argument. Everybody's got a scheme, but sometimes you got to look at the players you got and say, okay, he's best at doing this. Let him do this. Period. This is where he's most effective. He's one of the few players in the league that has had 10 plus sacks. I think it's up to what? 13 to 14 plus sacks for 3 consecutive years. That's crazy. He's been balling. If he keeps up at his pace, he might have a Hall of Fame career. he might be a sack specialist because he keeps putting up those numbers, barring any type of injury or anything crazy happening. He has been balling like that, man. And you got to put him in the place where he can be most successful. And I say this all the time for people that listen to me all the time. You look at coaches like Bill Parcells. You look at coaches like Bill Belichick. You look at Jimmy Johnson. Those guys knew what kind of team they had. They knew what type of personalities they had. And they knew exactly where to put them. They knew exactly where to put them on the field and when to put them on the field. And just knowing what type of players and what type of personalities you are and letting them do what they do best. But it's back those old school coaches. I think Shanahan is like that in with the 49ers. Him and DeMeco Ryans. They understand personality, they understand personnel, and they understand putting the right people in the right place at the right time. I think Gannon does that for the most part. Sometimes I think he gets caught into his bend but don't break scheme, and sometimes it costs us. But overall, that is a nitpick when we have one of the best defenses in the league this year and we won 14 games. What are you going to say? And many of those games, we kept our opponents under 20 points. What are you going to say? Yes, you want them to blitz more? Okay. But think about it. That's a nitpick. That's a nitpick. I use this analogy all the time. It's like complaining that your kids just drive you nuts, but all of them bring home straight A's. You just nitpick it. What can you say? I wish Gannon would bring different types of pressure and blitz just a little bit more, but the proof is in the pudding, and the results are the results. We didn't luck into that. There's a reason why we got, 4 players with over 10 sacks? Are you kidding me? We got 4 players. It might be more than that. Hargrave, Sweat, Reddick, BG just got over 10 for the first time in his career. I think Fletcher Cox has 8. So you can only bitch and moan about that so much. And the big scheme is, in the big scheme of things, now we're in the playoffs. So whatever issue you might have with Gannon running his defense, it might show up in the playoffs. Because you got to make the right decisions because it's one and done now. So there can't be, I said this on my show last Thursday, we can't get into a situation where we have another press conference where Nick Sirianni or Jonathan Gannon is talking about what they should have done. We should have went to the run a little bit earlier. I should have done this a little bit earlier. We got to do a better job of coaching. We can't have those type of conversations anymore. It's too late for that. It is too late for that. We in the playoffs. Got to get it done. No excuses. Not going to bitch and moan about Jonathan Gannon. Keep up the pressure. If we can keep teams to under 20 points in the playoffs, we got something going. We got to win 3 games. We win the first 2, we in the Super Bowl. We in the third, with Super Bowl champs with our second ring. Going 3-0 is the goal. And that is a realistic expectation. That is a very realistic expectation. So let's get it done. We're going to watch these games this week. And we're going to figure out who our opponent is. And then we're going to go get busy. And speaking of the opponents, looking at the wild cards, let's see what we got tomorrow. You got the Seahawks and the 49ers at 4:30. Then you got the Chargers and the Jags. And then Sunday you got, we got 3 games on Sunday. You got Dolphins and the Bills, Giants and the Vikings, Ravens and the Bengals, and then the Cowboys Bucks play on Monday. Unless Geno Smith just pulls a rabbit out of his behind, I think 49ers win that game. I think the 49ers have the better team. Brock Purdy is just playing lights out right now. He's had 5 weeks to get comfortable, and he is comfortable, and he's looking good. So I expect the 49ers to take that game. Chargers and Jags are going to be a good game. Chargers had a meaningless game last week, and then the number one receiver got hurt. So the Jaguars are looking good. Trevor Lawrence is looking good. Doug Peterson has got that team playing well. Doug Peterson is a good coach, and they have figured that out down in Jacksonville. He found himself in a good situation with another good quarterback. So it's I see the Jaguars possibly taking down the Chargers. Dolphins and the Bills. I think the Bills are still riding that emotional roller coaster with Damar Hamlin. And then Damar Hamlin's probably going to be at that game, so they're going to be in Buffalo. So that place is going to be rocking if Damar Hamlin can come out on the field so the crowd can see him. They're going to blow the roof off that joint. It's going to be crazy. And I don't give Dolphins any chance without Tua. So I think the Bills come away with that victory pretty evenly. The Giants and the Vikings is going to be a slugfest. That's going to be a slugfest. No, I think the Vikings are going to come out ahead because I'm expecting a big game out of Justin Jefferson. He is out to prove something. But Dayball has got them Giants playing at a high level right now. And they are believing and drinking the Kool-Aid. And they are playing some physical football right now. So I'm picking the Vikings, but the Giants have got a shot. The Giants have got a legit shot to take down the Vikings. Because the Vikings get in these dry spells, man, and you don't know what the hell is going on with them. They're like a stock report. They up one week and down the next. And it's like they're drastic changes in temperatures with the Vikings, man. Justin Jefferson goes for 200 plus yards, and the next week he'll have 50. He'll get shut out. So the Vikings have got to put it all together. A lot of pressure on everybody there. They got the team to do it. They just got to put it together. The Ravens and the Bengals. Lamar Jackson is not playing. I don't see any reason why the Ravens beat the Bengals. My Bengals. Yes, I am a former Philadelphia Eagle, but I was born in Cincinnati, and I have much love for my Bengals, Who Dey, and all of that. Joe Cool is down there and changed the culture in Cincinnati. He has been the best quarterback we've had, in my opinion, I don't know, since Boomer Esiason. He's doing it up. They expect to win in Cincinnati, and we got a couple more pieces that we can get. Joe Cool has got them down there playing good ball, keeping them relaxed. All they got to do is don't crap the bed and win the game. And then the Monday night game, Cowboys and the Bucs. It looks like the Eagles will have the winner of this game. The Cowboys and the Bucs. I'm pulling for the Bucs because I want Jalen Hurts to be able to get revenge on that game from last year. Because in my opinion, that game last year against the Bucs was the game that turned it around for Jalen Hurts. He got embarrassed down there. They heard all of that was the one where you got the audio on the sideline saying that he can't read defenses. And it's my opinion that game was the game where something on the inside clicked for Hurts. And in that offseason, he went to work. And you can see the results from the work that he put in over the summer. MVP candidate. I believe Jalen Hurts is the MVP if Patrick Mahomes doesn't exist. And for Philadelphia to even be in this situation is because of Jalen Hurts. For Jalen Hurts to even be legitimately in the conversation for MVP is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Because you looked at what you had last year and you look at the amount of work and the amount of progress that he needed to become a legitimate quarterback in the NFL. It has been astounding. He has gone above and beyond any expectation. any hope of what anybody could have thought that he would have, well, if he could just pass the ball a little bit better and, everybody, and even with him still relying on the run, but I think that's another argument with the coaching and stuff like that with the RPOs, but there's been about 4 or 5 games where he's put it in the air and he's shown you he will beat you with his legs or he will throw it over your head. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with the legs. Either one. Now, the big thing is he healthy? Is he healthy? Clearly, the injury in Chicago was a lot worse than anybody had thought. Clearly. I'm still upset because at that game, I'm looking at Nick Sirianni like, why in the world are you throwing the ball so much in 20-degree weather with heavy wind? Made no sense to me. And we ended up paying for it. It was what? 17 RPOs? Jalen Hurts ran the ball 17 times that game. That was ridiculous in that type of weather with the offensive line that we have. But when you speak on this, at least it seems to me like we've beaten a dead horse. If they don't know about now, they'll never know. And my biggest fear is we going to go in the playoffs and they are going to get pass drunk, abandon the run, and we're going to lose one of these close games when we could have taken control if we just ran the ball and had a balanced offensive attack. We already know we can do it. We did it last year. We got even more horses this year. So the fact that they don't do it is maddening. Very, very frustrating. So Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni better have their ducks in a row, and they better come out with a legitimate game plan and not all of this pass-happy stuff that we've been dealing with. Because every time we get pass-happy with stuff, we come out on the short end of the stick. So, especially when you're talking about good teams. Now, we had a couple of opportunities during the year where Jalen, he let it loose. We got to keep it balanced. That's all I'm asking. Keep it balanced. We can't go another half of football where Miles Sanders only touches the ball four times or less. Usually it's 2 or 3. Not to mention, we running the ball out of gun instead of putting the running back behind you. So we got to be ready. We got to protect Jalen. I know he's going to run because you got to lay it out on the line because it's the playoffs. Win or go home. So that's it in a nutshell. We got to take care of business. I saw the interview today. Lane Johnson is going to play. He said he'll be good, so I take him at his word. He's going to be good. They had a couple little clips out in practice. He looked halfway decent. Ain't really much you can do about that. He's going to shoot it up. He's going to wrap it up, and he's going to play. I think he should be good. I think. So we're going to see what's going to happen. But this is where we want to be, where we're sitting back, relaxing, healing up, and we can watch what's in front of us, and we control our own destiny. You got enough time, watch the tape, come up with a good game plan, keep it balanced, and we should be the best team on the field for the next 3 weeks. All right, so let's get it done. Go Birds.